So warm welcome to all of you on Thanksgiving Sunday. Some of you I see have family members. Some of you are back from university and visiting with family, and some of you are from other parts of the world here today and visiting with family as well. So warm welcome to everyone this morning for our Thanksgiving Sunday service. I was reading an article recently in the United Church Observer. How many of you get the Observer? It's a wonderful, internationally acclaimed church magazine for which I am very grateful. And there's an article by Tricia Elliott in the last month. And the article is titled The Gratitude Effect. And in the article, Tricia speaks about an ancient Republican in the Observer. And this ancient Republican's name was Marcus Tullius Cicero, 500 years before the time of Christ. And she quotes him as saying that gratitude is the parent of all other virtues. It was a comment that really struck me. It might be a comment that contemporary Republicans might take to heart a little more deeply as well. Gratitude is the parent of all other virtues. Cicero saw gratitude as being fundamental to our human lives and to our human ethos. And this is 500 years before the time of Christ as well. But the Bible and the Gospels and the life of Jesus also lift up the profound significance of the experience and cultivation of the mood, the feeling, the sensibility of gratitude in our lives. And Jennifer shared with us just a minute ago that wonderful story from the life of Jesus, right, in which Jesus is engaged in his ministry of healing and teaching, and 10 lepers come along. Now, you remember in Jesus' day, leprosy was their version of AIDS today, okay? It was a dreaded kind of disease. There was a fairly high level of social stigmatism attached to it as well. And so people who had leprosy weren't just physically afflicted, but they were also, they were shunned by their society. They were banned from all places of social engagement, even from their families. And so 10 of these lepers, they come to Jesus. They're actually a bit of a distance, and they say, Jesus, they've heard that he's this great healer, and they say, Jesus, please heal us. And Jesus looks at them and says, sure, I'll heal you. And he says, so go forth, you're healed. Go show yourself to the priests, which was the requirement in that day and age. The priests had to validate the healing in order for them to re-engage with their family and to be allowed back into society. So the lepers are tootling off down the road, and they're running off to see the priests and to tell the priests that they're fine and they've been healed. And will the priests give them a doctor's certificate, basically, to go and work again and to be with their families and to go to public places again. But the remarkable thing is they just, boom, Jesus says go, and they just off the road. But one of them, and the gospel makes an interesting point of this, one of them who isn't a Jew, he's an additional outsider. He's a Samaritan in that culture. He's running down the road, and all of a sudden you can just see the light bulb goes on in his head, and he says, whew. And he whips around, and he whips on back up the road, and he says, Jesus, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. And you could just see Jesus with a little kind of grin on his face, right? And Jesus says to him, hey, didn't I heal 10 of you guys? Where's the other 9? And I don't know. And you could just see Jesus. Yeah, I know what you guys are all like. Jesus says, listen, your trust has healed you. And although the gospel doesn't include the words, your trust has healed your leprosy, but I'm sure Jesus would also have said, but your spirit of gratitude and thankfulness has healed your heart and your soul as well. Go forth and live your life with joy. And off goes the leper. And you know The fact that he was able to experience that gratitude, that spirit of thankfulness in his heart for the incredible gift that he had received, not just the gift of physical healing, but the gift of re-inclusion in his society. The gratitude itself, the suggestion of the story is that that gratitude itself that he experiences is profoundly healing and life transformative for him. Trish Elliott makes the point that gratitude, the cultivation of gratitude in our lives, isn't just a sort of sugary kind of happy-go-lucky feeling kind of thing, that the experience of gratitude has a profound capacity to transform and heal our lives at a very, very deep level. And she refers to an American professor of psychology at the University of California, a fellow by the name of Robert Emmons. And Robert Emmons, apparently 15 years ago, he was doing sociological research, and he was presenting a paper at a conference. And one of his colleagues at the conference, because the paper touched on the themes of gratitude, one of the professors at the conference said, "You know what? I don't think there's been a whole lot of research done in this area. You should go out and do research on gratitude." And Emmons says, one of those light bulbs, like with the leper, went on in his head, and he decides that's what he's going to do. And he starts doing an investigation, and his investigation leads him to the point where he realizes, there's been very little actual research done on how gratitude, the cultivation and experience of gratitude in our lives, actually has a significant impact on our lives. So he goes out, and 15 years later, he's become a world-renowned expert on the whole experience and value of gratitude in our lives. And he says it was the most wonderful comment or direction that anyone ever could have given him at that conference 15 years ago, because he says as a result of his research over the years, he came to experience gratitude as a profound force for good in people's lives. Thanksgiving Sunday, I thought, let's talk about why gratitude is such a profound force for good in our lives. The sociologists are now beginning to catch up to what the spiritual gurus and the world's religious traditions, including Cicero, way back, a Roman philosopher 2,500 years ago, as well as Jesus, lift up as well all the time the power of gratitude. And Emmons, as well as other people, have noted that there are a number of things that the social sciences are beginning to recognize today are profound impacts of gratitude. And I wanted to just share a few of those with you this morning. So one of the impacts of gratitude is, just think about it for a second. Why is gratitude such a profound and important component in our lives? Well, one of the reasons is that gratitude opens the doors to relationships, right? So when somebody says to you, "Thank you," even when a stranger holds a door open for you at in a shopping mall or some other place, or your neighbor says, "Thanks for lending me that power tool," or shoveling my driveway in the winter. What does gratitude do? When you express gratitude, when you express thankfulness, it starts to increase and strengthen the bonds of appreciation between you. When you feel appreciated, right? When your neighbor feels appreciated, that starts to create human bonds between us. And we all know that one of the key things that contributes to longevity in life, one of the key blessings in our lives, are healthier, happier, more lasting, loving relationships. So when we express gratitude, sociologists say something very simple: gratitude helps to build the bonds of affection between people, creates relationships, and that's a good thing for us, right? A 2012 study has shown that people who experience and express gratitude are physically healthier as well, and that they have less aches and pains in their lives. So that's because, and they also said that people who experience gratitude have a greater appreciation for their body. How many of you have said recently, "Thank you to God for my body"? when you've been through a physical life crisis, you start to experience a profound sense of gratitude for this physical vehicle through which our life and spirit is expressed, right? And they say that people who experience gratitude, the study has shown they're more willing and more open to utilize the help and the resources of doctors and other professionals who will help them become physically more fit and able in their lives. This physical vehicle is, according to the scriptures and according to Paul, it's a sacred vessel. And when we feel a sense of gratitude for just this physical body, we tend to care for it more deeply, right? We look after it more deeply. We have more respect for it. So gratitude for our physical being, that experience of gratitude extends even to ourselves and to our physical bodies. And that's a good thing, right? It leads to greater health. Not only does gratitude increase physical health, it also increases psychological and emotional health and being as well. And they've discovered that gratitude reduces a whole ton of toxic emotions in our lives. And what are some of the toxic emotions in our lives? Well, there's envy, there's resentment, right? Frustration and regret. Gratitude is when we learn to focus on the blessings that are part of our lives. When we learn to focus on the blessings and the gifts that we have, we are less resentful, we are less envious of others. They also say that people who experience gratitude in their lives experience more empathy for other people. They engage in less aggressive behavior for other people as well. So gratitude creates a whole kind of psychological inner space that is healthy and beneficial for us, and that in turn releases good chemicals in our body as well that affects our physical health and well-being as well. They also say that studies have been done on all this stuff, that people who experience gratitude sleep better. There was a study done on people who would take 5 or 10 minutes before they go to bed at night to write down 4 or 5 things from the day for which they were blessed and for which they were grateful. Now just think about that process. If you did that at night, rather than going to bed and thinking about who did this and what's going on here and I'm mad about work and you just actually took a few minutes to think about what a blessing this day has been and what were the gifts that I've received in this day. They did that with people and they discovered that people, if you want to learning how to sleep better, getting better sleep, it's a great strategy for going to bed and getting sleep, right? Another thing, and another study was done in 2014 in a Journal of Applied Sports Psychology, and it found that gratitude improved athletes' self-esteem. What is one of the biggest inhibitors of self-esteem in our lives? It's comparing yourselves to others who are more accomplished, more capable, more successful in life, right? Be it in the athletic world, be it materially, financially, be it professionally, whatever it is, right? And so what gratitude does is when we focus on the blessings that we have, when we focus on the capacities that we have, when we focus on the gifts that we do have in our lives, we tend not to compare ourselves with others nearly so much. And then we feel better about ourselves. Our self-esteem is just oomped up just like that. And they've also said that gratitude increases mental strength. They did a study of post-traumatic stress disorder and people following the 9/11 whole incident, and they discovered that people who have gone through difficult, challenging experiences in their lives, and we all go through difficult, challenging experiences in our lives sometimes, and those experiences can undermine our faith in humanity. They can undermine our sense of life as a place to be trusted, life as a place of well-being. But if you can recognize the gifts in a time which is even a time of incredible strength, of incredible stress, and a time of incredible struggle, and maybe a time of incredible disillusionment, if you can focus on gifts in that time, then that increases your mental resilience, helps you to get through the difficulties and the challenges of that time. Gratitude is the experience of learning to cultivate a sense of appreciation for the blessings and the gifts that we have, rather than focusing on the blessings and gifts that we don't have, but we think we deserve, right? There's always going to be people who have more than us in life, right? There's always going to be people whose lives seem to have it all together and have less challenges in their lives than us. But to be able to focus on the gifts that we do have, the blessings that we do have, is one of the most profound gifts and sources of spiritual peace and well-being in our lives that we can have. Somebody was saying to me the other day, and that's part of the reason I showed you that video earlier on. Probably the greatest blessing that any of us can ever receive in our lives is the blessing of being born in a first world country. Okay? You just think about it. The fact that you have been born in Nova Scotia or Canada, or have had the opportunity to come and live in Canada, probably more than anything else in your life, more than any of your capacity, more than any of your education, more than anything else that you bring to the table, that single, undeserved, unmerited gift in itself has probably had the largest impact and source of grace and blessing in our lives. And it's totally undeserved. It's just a gift of the universe to us to have received this, a gift of chance to have received this blessing in this time, at this point in our lives. So recognizing that we are so blessed, so gifted, even if we have all sorts of neighbors who are richer than us, have more opportunities here in this country, we are still so blessed by virtue of simply living in this exquisitely beautiful province and this wonderful country. And the same can be said for people all around the world. There are blessings and gifts to be found wherever and whenever we live. That's why Jesus lifts up, and the Gospels lift up, this sense of gratitude for the gift of life itself. This sense of gratitude for the gift of life, gratitude to God, gratitude to the people who have gone before us, gratitude to the culture around us, is a profound source of healing and peacefulness and centeredness in our lives. And it's what this day, Thanksgiving Sunday, calls us to. So take a moment right now, and rather than thinking about, what do I think I deserve or wish I had, what are some of the blessings and gifts that I do have? And just say a little interior word of thanks. Thanks be to God. Amen.
Like these birthing leaves and Please join me in a prayer of thanksgiving. On this day, O God, we give thanks in all kinds of communities and even in solitude. Our desire in this moment is to come before you with our prayers of thanksgiving. We are thankful for the beauty of the earth, bright orange leaves mixed with green, a gentle rain, waterfalls, a spider's delicate web. We are thankful for friends, for family, even acquaintances who offer us kindness, who bring us laughter, who hold us to a higher standard. We give you thanks for hearts to love and hands to service, for strength to work, rest and play. We give you thanks for all seekers of justice and peace, for all that is good and nourishing to our well-being, for medicine, doctors, and medical breakthroughs. We are thankful. All of life is a wonder. The very breath we take, the ability to rouse ourselves each new day, a single blade of grass that holds such miracles of symmetry, a tiny distant star whose real size boggles our minds. We take our days and our loves and our passions for granted, as if tomorrow will verify their importance and our present moments have other things to occupy us. Thanksgiving this year may be very difficult or different from previous years, with a new table at which to sit, new persons sitting with us, or a dear one absent, perhaps worries crowding out our sense of blessing. Loving God, help us to see your goodness. Remind us to have grateful hearts. Give us receptive minds and grant us ever gracious ways of living in harmony with each other. And in our gratitude, make us to be instruments of your peace. Amen.
Our closing hymn this morning, Every Day is a Day of Thanksgiving. Let's rise as we are able in body and spirit and go out singing together.
is taken from Paul's letter to the Philippians, chapter 4. So go into the world showing a gentle attitude towards everyone. Be joyful and thankful. Fill your mind with those things that are good and deserve praise. Those that are true, noble, right, pure, lovely, and honorable. Put into practice what you have heard here, and the God who gives peace will be with us all. Amen.